have to actually admit to you, I've had many thoughts. So I was actually thinking before about my thought of the week, and there were so many thoughts. There were so many different things that came up. Let's talk about something that a lot of people say that I must be all the time, and what I actually feel like I have been today, and if it's a bad or good thing or not. So, what is that thing? Being busy. Being a mother, especially, because that's what I am. And being busy. Now, on one hand, I could be like incredibly harsh with myself and say, if you're busy, it's all self-inflicted. So just stop it. Just stop being busy. But I will tell you, back in, I think it was 2016, I was approached to be involved with an activity that a few of my children were doing. They really needed somebody to like stand in the gap for like, I don't know if it was like insurance purposes or illegal or anything like that, but anyhow, I was approached. I was pregnant with my 8th child, and I was told, oh, don't worry, it's completely hands off, you won't have to do anything, it's just like your name's on paper. The problem became clear very quickly, because I would have to drop my daughters off at the activity. I was then physically like in the building, so it was already there, so it would be like, come and join in. And you know, sometimes if you're dropping your child off to an activity, the like running back and forth or like entertaining yourself while your child's at the activity, it's sometimes more trouble than it's what it's worth. So you might just sort of hang around, because you're like, the activity only goes for an hour and a half, I might as well just hang around. So there would be plenty of times that I would hang around. I would chat with other mothers and, you know, exhale and stuff like that. And then I found it was like, come on, Katherine, get involved. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, alarm bells. Like, do you ever get like that? I find particularly in churches, no one has like this ill will towards you, but it just seems like sometimes they will suck you dry as a volunteer. It's this whole can-do attitude and the inability to say no, or we feel like we have to give a very long-winded explanation if we do say no. Like, it has to be something really, a really big deal to be able to say no. Otherwise it's like, oh yeah, you know. And I have had people since that time commiserate with me, like, oh yeah, that's how I became secretary of the footy club, or that's how I became secretary of this club. Like, it's everywhere. And I'm not saying don't volunteer, but I am also saying that sometimes the best thing we can actually do is say no. And I've told people this, no can be a complete sentence. You don't have to divulge heaps of information. You don't have to do a long explanation. If you previously have said yes to something and then you say no, you can apologize. You can say, you know, I am sorry. I did agree to this, but it's just, I've realized I made a poor decision and I can't do it. Because honestly, I was pregnant with my 8th child and I had 7 other young children to care for as well. And I don't know, I kind of look back on that time as sort of like this pivotal moment, like 2016, back in the good old days. And I remember I approached the person and I just said, I can't do this anymore. I will no longer be involved in any capacity except to drop my children off at the activity. And the person was shocked but grateful. And she told me at the time, for 27 years, nearly 30 years, she had never come across somebody who would just say, no, I can't do it. And that, you know, women especially, we have this way of behaving where we overschedule, we overcomplicate, we overcommit, we overdo it. And, you know, we might even look at men with jealousy, like, oh, it's so easy for you, you don't understand. And I'm like, honestly, I know, like, with my husband, I reckon he's got it pretty worked out. So, yeah, I've been thinking, like, this morning, I got up early, I made breakfast for myself, I made breakfast for other people, I changed children, I did schoolwork with children, I read many things, we read the Bible, we prayed, like, we've done a lot of stuff. And then suddenly I was like, oh no, I need to have a shower before I go out. And so you see me sitting here with wet hair. It's not a big deal. I try to tell myself that. It's not a big deal. Even though my hair will go like curly and frizzy and horrible looking, it's only hair. It's not a big deal. My beautiful, handsome, lovely husband has no hair on his head, and he's living life quite fine. I have hair. It's just the way it is. So, yeah, this video is probably going to be longer, but I guess sharing all that big story and chatting, I hope that it helps to encourage other people that sometimes the decision is just to say no to something. No. I can't volunteer for that club. No. We can't do 3 activities in one day. No. I don't want to do that activity that means I'm out of the house during a mealtime, and then I'm stressed out of my mind at 5 o'clock in the morning preparing a on-the-go dinner that we eat in the van. Like, I know I keep banging on about only getting one shot at life, but for those of us who have had periods in our lives where we've really struggled, and it probably would have been really great to have somebody to be on our side and, like, advocate for us. Well, we're grown-up people now, so we've got to do it for ourselves. And stepping into the light and choosing joy and choosing, like, a simple life and slowing down and stuff like that can actually be genuinely terrifying. Because if you, from a child, develop this fight or flight reaction to things, and then you tend to run away from stuff, it can sometimes make you run away from, like, the good stuff too. So the simplifying, the decluttering, the schedule building, the reading of books for pleasure, the good self-care routine, the makeup and moisturizing and cleansing routine, the exercise routine. I've said routine a lot of times. The spending time outside, the, you know, like, all the things, right, can seem so overwhelming where you're like, I don't even know where to start. Like, so this isn't like a how-to video, clearly, because I have really been thinking so much about busy and my own life, because it's also easy to look at other people who seem to be really busy and hyper productive, and then you start thinking like you should do more and that you're lazy. But that's if you were trying to live their life. Like, honestly, there are very, very few people I can truly relate to, because I am pregnant with my 11th child. We're a rare bunch. There's not a lot of us. I would say there's more women women, on at least on the internet, who are American. I'm not American, and I don't live in America, so yeah. Am I just completely and totally waffling on? This is my thought of the week. Often thoughts can be very jumbled and non-concise and not make a lot of sense. But yeah, I'm even sitting here thinking of how to like bundle it all up. I guess if you're still watching this, thank you. It would be, sometimes we have to take a really good look at our own lives. We might even need to sit down with pen and paper and write down all the different commitments and all the different things that we've signed up for. And we might have to be tough on ourselves and say, no, I can't do tennis practice anymore. This is probably going to be like a contentious thing for me to say, but I'm going to say it with love, okay? And I'm older mother now. I have, my oldest child is 18, so I've got 18 years of mothering experience under my belt. Yes, sports and clubs and everything can be great. I've heard the arguments for being competitive. I've heard the arguments for being in a team environment and learning to strategize, and I've heard it all. But the likelihood that your child is going to become the next tennis star, the next swimming Olympian, the next number one in their extracurricular field is very low. I know there's exceptions, so don't attack me. I know there's exceptions. They're very few and far between. You have parents that are getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to take their kid to swimming 3 days a week. And I've heard stories of the child then becoming or making bad life decisions. And it's like, well, you had all that time in the car, they had all those early mornings, they did swimming for 10 years or dancing or gymnastics or soccer or chess club. These activities aren't bad, but weighing it up against the rest of the family dynamic, how much time you have, how stressed out it might make you, it might just make a few of the people that eventually watch this video to think to themselves, we're just going to do tennis practice, we're not going to do the comp as well. Or we're now going to just do the activity 1 day a week and not 3. I've decided I'm not leaving the house anymore on a Wednesday night because I've done it for 15 years and I need to have at least one night at home. So, wow. So, I don't even know where I'm going with this. I guess it's like reiterating my point of sometimes we have to sit down, we have to think about the things that we're doing. So you think about the things you're doing, and think about things that you want to do that you don't have time for, and you might actually be able to, if you talk to somebody about it or if you write it down or whatever, you might then be able to see through the murky water and be like, it was me all along. It was me. I was the one who signed up for all this stuff, and I'm now gonna unsign up for it. I'm not gonna die on that hill, and maybe we're gonna do something else. Maybe I'll talk to my children and I'll find out my children actually don't want to do that activity. And the saying is like, what are we all doing this for? maybe I made that up. Maybe that's my own saying, but we can watch all the self-help videos there are. We can read all the books, we can have all the conversations. Sometimes at the end of the day, we just gotta cut some things loose. Because there's plenty of things that we can't cut loose, like that we need to do. But there's also plenty of things that we feel like we so desperately want to do and we don't do it. So writing a book is a good example. Writing a book, you hear that someone's an author, you either get the funny farm image of it, or you get the beautiful leather and wood office with a pipe. You know, that beautiful writing of the book, the uninterrupted writing of the book. Oh, I wrote 20 chapters today. No. That's often not the reality. Until you're very established, or if you're single and you have no children, it's the habit of actually showing up for the thing. And then it's one word or one action at a time. One step towards the goal. I'm not even going to go into finding out what your true goals are. That's a whole nother video. But it starts with the one word, the one line, the one sentence, the one paragraph, the one chapter, and you eventually get to the end of your book. So there's my book analogy for you. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments about anything that I mentioned today. If it's all just a load of BS and I'm like totally full of it and I have no clue, or if you're like, hey, you know, yeah. Man, I am busy and I do think about a lot of things. Like, I have a very large family. It's a lot to think about. But I think I'm slowly sort of finding my way to, I don't know where, but somewhere. I just want to keep showing up. I want to keep encouraging people, especially those who mistakenly put me on this pedestal, like, because I have 10 kids, I'm like the best in the world. I suffer greatly at times with imposter syndrome. I see other YouTube channels, so the women have 8 or 9 children, and everyone's like blowing wind up her skirt the whole time about how perfect she is. And I'm sitting there thinking, maybe I'm just meant to live, to raise my children, and die, and to fade into insignificance. Maybe that's my place in the world. Maybe. But I'd also like it to not be. So that's why I'm still here. I'd like it to not be. So, man, a lot of talking. Thank you for listening. We know there's so much going on in the world. We all have different passions and things that we focus on. We have access to the whole big wide world of information, and sometimes unfettered access to everything causes a lot of anguish and a lot of overwhelm. So that's probably why I'm such a fan of like simple living, and that's probably why I'm such a fan of my own little family, my husband and my children. Yeah. But anyhow, signing out. I've spoken for far too long. Thank you. If you're still watching, feel free to subscribe to my channel if you wish. And video.